You're asking very good questions.
Thanks.
I appreciate you like making me think about this because I don't always think about these things. I guess like how do I explain this? It's making sense in my head. So
Okay, take your time.
like the actions that we do might not necessarily have like that good or bad label, but like I think that people have good intentions. Like that's real, like not necessarily what comes out of it, if that makes sense.
I think so. So it's not necessarily the traditional, what a lot of people think of morality. It's what there's people who have good intentions and people who have bad intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And why does that indicate a higher power? What made you decide to stop?
I'm just a talker. I like getting to know people. I saw free conversation, so I went for it.
All right. Awesome. And what's your name?
Lillian?
Lillian. Don't need a last name,
Oh,
but I will edit that up.
okay, cool.
How do you spell Lillian?
Lillian.
Perfect. And I already asked you what made you stop. Was there a particular thing that you thought you wanted to talk about?
I guess like religion.
Religion.
I think it's interesting.
Okay. Do you have any strong beliefs in that?
Well, I was raised Catholic for most of my life. Baptized, confirmed, the whole thing.
Gotcha.
But I'd say like around my junior year, I like felt I was like really drifting away from that, and like a lot of those beliefs just didn't really resonate with me anymore.
Gotcha.
And now I wouldn't even necessarily call myself a Christian. I feel like I've taken lots of bits and pieces from a lot of different religions, and kind of made my own philosophies and beliefs and stuff. And I think like most of my like beliefs revolve around mostly just like respecting nature and like life and the people around me.
Okay. Gotcha. Cool. So you were raised Catholic. Your junior year in high school, I'm assuming?
Mm-hmm.
Started to drift away. You kind of took different pieces of different religions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. I guess if you could encapsulate your belief with regards to religious beliefs into like a tweet, what would that tweet be?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like religion as a whole, I think is just a very interesting thing, and I think that a lot of people grasp onto different religions for different reasons, and I personally have a lot of respect for all religions, and I don't see many things wrong with most religions. I just found that Catholicism just wasn't for me.
Gotcha. Like, do you believe in a God still? Is that still part of your beliefs?
Kind of. I think that there's like some sort of higher power out there, but I don't feel like me personally, as like a human, like if there is a higher power, I don't think that I'm like qualified to define what or who that power might be.
Okay. So what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, like you believe in a higher power,
Mm-hmm.
but the description is kind of unknown. You don't
Yeah.
know anything about it. Okay, just that it exists.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about that more?
Yeah. I feel like I like to think that whatever this higher power is might be good. That is just a comforting thought, I guess. And I like to see that there is some sort of like morality in the universe, kind of similar to how a lot of religions believe in karma,
Oh.
as in like what you do will give you certain outcomes.
So this higher power might reward you for doing good things and punish you for doing bad things?
In whatever way that might happen.
Okay.
And I wouldn't necessarily say that I like worship whatever this higher power might be. But like I mentioned earlier, like with my respect to nature, I like to think that like if this higher power like created our universe, that like I think that it would just appreciate people taking time to appreciate the things around them.
And how confident are you that this higher power exists?
Mm, I don't know. It's a good question. I'd say I'm pretty confident.
Pretty confident. Okay. And why are you pretty confident?
I feel like a lot of it comes down from like a lot of different religions have described different miracles and just like supernatural things that have happened. Like like I said, I have like a very heavily Catholic background.
Mhm.
And so I grew up hearing a lot about different miracles within like Christianity, like things like healings and whatnot. And I feel like a lot of those things, like a lot of people will be like, this proves the Christian God is real, but like there have also been lots of similar miracles and stuff within different religions.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of alludes to like a higher power in general.
Okay. So it's all these different religions have a different kind of description of what this God is and is like, but they all claim it to be a higher power, and because these different religions have these miracles that they witnessed, experienced, claim to have
Mhm.
happened. That's kind of like a piece of evidence to for this higher power, or a reason to believe that this higher power exists. Okay. Mhm. Is there any other alternative explanations for these miracles? And
I don't know. I feel like I haven't heard a lot of alternative explanations. I think part of that is just because I was in a very Catholic bubble growing up, so I didn't hear many outsider perspectives on those things. Um, but I'm sure in some instances there might be like some weird scientific anomaly that could have happened, or like a lot of people might just say like these people lied. But like I wasn't there. I don't have the credibility to say whether or not what happened happened. So,
is there a particular miracle that stands out from the rest for you,
mm,
or an example that you'd want to talk about?
not that I can think of.
If there was an explanation for one of them, say,
Mhm.
would that reduce your confidence that a higher power exists?
I feel like an explanation for one of them, I feel like there's so many different miracles that have been described that are all so different. I feel like explaining one wouldn't necessarily.
So it would have to be like a certain amount.
Yeah, I don't know if I could label necessarily a number, but
Sure.
like if it started to be like one after another and it started like adding up,
Okay,
then
gotcha.
and I feel like it would have to cover like a wide range of like different kinds of miracles, I guess if that makes sense.
I think so. Okay. How could we know if a miracle occurred or didn't occur?
It's a good question. Um, I guess a lot of it is just based in like trust on like other people's like tellings of like what happened exactly, and like what we've seen on our own. But I think a lot of it is kind of difficult to say for sure.
Okay. If it's difficult to say for sure, I guess why should we believe that it's true?
I feel like take everything with a grain of salt, but you make a good point.
Okay. Hmm. Are you still 100% confident? Or I guess you didn't say 100%.
Yeah.
That was a previous conversation. I apologize. You said pretty confident.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still pretty confident?
I'd like to think so. I think like the universe exhibiting some sort of morality in general, like kind of proves to me, like in my world religions class, we just learned about Buddhism, and they believe like very heavily in like karma and reincarnation.
Yeah.
And I read some stuff in that class written by, I believe was it Gandhi that was talking about this, which is Hinduism, but like there's some overlap with those religions. But he was talking about how like it wouldn't like karma makes sense because it proves some sort of morality. in the universe, and like why would there be this morality like without a higher power to enforce it? I don't know if what I said made any sense.
Yeah, I understand. So I guess like people want to, people believe that there is a good and a bad,
hmm
and if there is a good and a bad, it would make sense that karma exists because there is a good and a bad. Makes sense. I guess. Should we believe that there is a good and a bad?
I personally like to view the universe through a pretty gray look, like not very black and white. I feel like good and bad is a very like
Yeah, I'm using
yeah,
pretty simple terms.
yeah. But like I like to think that like intentions are good. Like if you
Yeah,
intend to do good, then like
it's
you
kind of
intended to do good.
on a gradient. There's a lot of
hmm
nuance to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Where's that going? I lost my train of thought.
Let me try asking the question again and maybe phrasing it a little bit better. Um, should we believe that there is things that are morally good and morally bad? Like, I mean, obviously the nuance, but
I don't know. Because like with that nuance, like labeling certain things as good or bad can be very iffy. And I don't think that we should like label certain things necessarily as good or bad. Like things are just things, I guess. And like there are definitely like negatives and positives to almost everything. So like yeah, I guess it's difficult to label things as necessarily good or bad, but I feel like if you just like have like kind intentions in your heart, that's what matters the most.
what I've you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. So we had kind of like we talked about the miracles. We talked about this idea of morality. It seems like those might be two reasons you get to your confidence that a higher power exists. Is there one that stands out to you as more important?
I'd say morality.
Morality is more important?
Mhm.
Okay. And from what you just said, it sounds like you said that there's not, it sounded like you were saying that morality doesn't exist. I don't know if I was mishearing you.
No, yeah.
Okay.
You're asking very good questions.
Thanks.
I appreciate you like making me think about this because I don't always think about these things. I guess like how do I explain this? It's making sense in my head. So,
Okay. Take your time.
like the actions that we do might not necessarily have like that good or bad label, but like I think that people have good intentions. Like that's real, like not necessarily what if that makes sense.
I think so. So it's not necessarily the traditional what a lot of people think of morality. It's what there's people who have good intentions and people who have bad intentions.
hmm
Okay. And why does that indicate a higher power?
I feel like it would make sense for there to like if there is some sort of order in the universe, like that like for example, like if you're not a kind person and you don't have good intentions, you're not gonna have a lot of people that are drawn to you in most cases. Like your life won't be as fulfilling because you don't have as many like legitimate connections with people. So like that's kind of like that example of like karma that I was talking about. And that just to me points to like some sort of benevolent higher power because like if everything in the world did necessarily happen at random, like why would there be some sort of like outcome that aligns with what you do? If that makes sense.
I think I'm understanding what you're saying. You kind of painted a picture of what reality might look like if this higher power exists.
hmm
What does it look like if this higher power does not exist?
I feel like it would be like things would be a lot more random. Like I feel like
Like if I was really mean and I was just when these interviews I was just like yelling at people, people would still come and chat with me for a long time and it would just be kind of random. Like, is that what you mean? I'm not trying to misrepresent
no,
what
yeah.
you said.
I feel like maybe. Because, like, at the moment, like, I am pretty confident that this higher power exists, so it's difficult for me to say what a world without it would be, because, like, that's not a world that I personally feel like we're experiencing.
Like, if we can't picture what it would look like without this higher power,
Mhm.
how do we know the world that we currently are in looks like it because of that higher
Hmm. You're making very good points.
power? I'm not trying to argue from
Oh,
any
yeah.
point. I'm just trying to ask the question.
No, yeah, I don't think you're trying to argue with me, and I actually like I like being able to think through these and like change my opinion if my opinion needs to be changed. So I appreciate that.
Cool.
But I guess I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. I'll leave it at that. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so.
All right, well, Lillian, I'll let you get back to class or your dorm or wherever you're going to the party or something. I don't know what's going on
I
over
was
there.
gonna go get lunch.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll get you a puzzle piece. There's three different colors. I don't have the other color somewhere else, but I'll let you choose between red and yellow.
I'm gonna go yellow.
And you can collect the whole set. If you come back for another conversation, you get another puzzle piece. And I'd love to chat with you again. This was great.
All right, yeah.
Feel free to, here, I'll give you one of my cards too. You can have one of my cards. You can have a goodie. Candy, I got hot chocolate for you on it. Whatever.
I'll take some candy.
Have at it.
All right, thank you so
Yep.
much.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping.